This is Paul Rogers joining me again to talk about the wonderful world of telephone negotiation and all the variances around that. So one of the key issues that often comes up is when procurement sends lots and lots of emails and or a quick phone call to say, oh, by the way, can you just discount this? Can you just throw that in? Can I just clarify these 3 points and make sure you give us that for free? And we'll extend the terms by 60 days. And it's all done impersonally, usually via email or even a voicemail that's left. But we're going to focus on email, and there's an obvious reason why procurement chooses email to negotiate and ask for concessions.
Well, first of all, it's a documentary trail. So I'm aware that there is quite a lot of evidence that telephone negotiation actually causes ambiguity, that each party doesn't have a common understanding of what was agreed. The good news about email, Elliot, is that both parties are on the same page, or consensus ad idem, if you like Latin.
You did go to a good school, didn't you, Paul?
Well, better than you, mate.
So, the problem with this is that salespeople have little time, and the email pings and you decide to respond. Now, if it's a sales situation, you obviously can share information while you're trying to show people the benefit of your solutions. However, if you are in a negotiation, then getting into email is a really dangerous activity, because how do you connect, how do you concede with getting something back in return, which is called concession trading? How do you then negotiate in good faith to get a better result? Pretty much mostly what you can do over email is just give them what they want and concede, or simply say no, because to get into a long discussion about it over email, even if it's got a documentary trail on it, is not the way of getting the best result for you. Email is a trap, and there are ways around it if you look at the priority list of how to handle negotiations.
So you mentioned the priority list. If I gave you a variety of ways to conduct a persuasion, you could do email, you could do telephone, you could do face-to-face, or you could do video conferencing. What would be your batting order of those?
First, face-to-face. If it's not practical because it's overseas, interstate or whatever, video conference, number 2. Number 3, telephone. Pick up the phone. Just because you get an email doesn't mean you automatically click reply all and try and get a negotiated result. If you have to, as a last resort, and mostly to clarify a situation as opposed to negotiate a situation, then you can use email. But we've got to start getting away from the Pavlov's dog response mechanism that just leads to margin being given away and terms and conditions being given away.
You heard Elliot mention terms and conditions. My experience of email negotiation, that technical issues such as legal disputes or clarification of technology or something that is relatively small and is peer-to-peer with techies, that's where email negotiation comes into its own. Small gap, technical things, and especially when time is not a problem, because email negotiations tend to be drawn out, and if time is of the essence, email is not your friend.
And you don't know when they're going to respond, and you just sit there agonizing, oh, should I have given them more, less? Do they still love me? There's all these fraught decisions that take place when email is involved. So face-to-face, video conference, telephone, email.
In that order?
In that order.
So if the stakeholders want to know more, what do you think the team members should do, Elliot?
Oh, well, they should contact us, Paul, because if you want Paul to speak at a conference, or myself to speak at a sales conference about sales negotiation, or in fact the two of us together as a double act, then just DM us right here or leave a comment.